Okay, this is just a short video on order of operations, some additional examples in case you didn't understand the lesson the first time around. Let's take a look at this first problem. 1/2 times the quantity 21 plus 2 squared. Alright, so if I start this off, I'll show you my entire work here. I'm going to start off by looking at this and I say, look, parentheses. I do see parentheses here. Okay. However, inside the parentheses there's two things going on. There's some addition and there's some exponents going on. So between addition and exponents, we always do exponents first. So that's what I did first. Everything else I just wrote exactly the same, except 2 squared is 4. Next, I still have parentheses here, so I'm going to deal with that. That means I need to add these two together because that's the only thing happening inside. 21 plus 4 is 25. Last, I look, multiplication? Yes, there is multiplication. 1/2 of 25 is 25 over 2, or 12.5. And so I've finished all those. Let's take a look at another example. How about this problem here? You can pause the video and try it out yourself, and then check to see your work. Alright, the first thing I notice is I have parentheses. And inside the parentheses there's only one operation, which is addition. So I'm going to go and add those together. It's 14. Next, there's no exponents, so I skip that. There's no multiplication, so I skip that as well. I go to division. So division, 14 divided by 7, that gives me 2. I got to that point. So I got parentheses, exponents, multiplication, division. Now I go to addition and subtraction. Well, there is no subtraction, so I just have to add 2 plus 7, which gives me my 9. Okay, let's take a look at another example. All right, 20 minus half times 6 squared. Well, first off, there are no parentheses, so don't worry about that. Exponents, yes, there is 6 squared. So 6 squared is the first thing I do, which is 36. Okay. Once I get 36, I notice, okay, what's next? Multiplication or division. So I do have multiplication. Happens right here, half of 36, okay, which is 18. There's no division, I skip over that. There's no addition, I skip over that. Subtraction, my last step, which my final answer would be 2. Okay. A couple more examples. This is when they ask you to evaluate the expression. So you need to do one extra step, which is to plug something in. Let's take a look at this example. 11 plus r squared minus 2r when r is equal to 5. All that means is, look, if you already know what r is equal to, go and replace it. Everywhere you see an r, you're going to replace it with the 5. And I think it's good habit to replace it with a parenthesis, almost like a finger mark, a fingerprint showing, hey, this is where I replaced, this is where I replaced, and it leaves that parenthesis. It'll help you later. Okay, so speaking of parentheses, I asked myself, are there parentheses? Well, yes, but there's no operation inside. There's nothing for me to do. It's just a 5, and this is just a 5. So in reality, there is no parenthesis per se. There's nothing that you can do inside. Exponents, however, I do see one. 5 squared, that gives us 25. Next, multiplication, division. Well, there is multiplication. It's right here. This negative 2 times 5, or you can think of as subtracting 2 times 5. Regardless, I get that simplified. Next, addition, subtraction. Yes, I do see addition. That comes first from left to right, so I add that first. And then I subtract next, coming up with my final answer. Okay, great. Here's the last one, which can be confusing for students at times, so I'll go by slowly on this one. Alright, so here's the situation. K squared minus 1 divided by k plus 3 when k is equal to 5. So once again, I'm going to replace the k's with 5's. Okay, and I put them in parentheses to help me remember I replaced those. Next, parentheses. Well, there's nothing inside each parenthesis that I can actually do. It's just a 5, so nothing on parentheses. But exponents. I can do exponents. Now, I'm going to square this, and this is where some students get confused. That's why I put an exclamation point here, because they think, well, am I supposed to divide first? Because dividing comes before subtraction. Well, this is where the grouping symbols comes in effect. Remember, the grouping symbol says, hey, do whatever you have to up top and do whatever you have to on the bottom and then divide. So I'm going to look up top and you notice there's 25 minus 1 and on the bottom 5 plus 3. So I'm going to do those. 25 minus 1 is 24 and 5 plus 3 is 8. Now I can come to the division portion and divide these two values together and I get 3 as my final answer. So this is where a lot of students make mistakes. Just watch out. If you see a division bar, Take care of everything in the numerator first, then everything in the denominator, then divide.